you need more encouragement as to why to have your children be immersed in a language from as early as possible, here's an example of something that might turn your head a little bit. Okay, so our daughter has been going, we were very lucky to have a French immersion school in our town in California, and she's been going to French school, being taught in French since maternelle or nursery school. Now she's in France and she's doing fine in school. But the thing that's interesting is when I ask her questions, like she tells me a story about the teacher was saying this or that, and I'm like, well, what word did they use? And she's like, I don't know, because she doesn't see a difference between French and English. Her brain receives them equally. And I think that's so cool. And I attribute that to the fact that she's been immersed since she was like 3 years old in French. But it's not the same for me, even though I've been speaking French for 40 years now. I am very aware of what language, my brain is very aware of what language is being spoken, and I feel like it's more like a gear shift back and forth between them. When I'm in a conversation, maybe it starts to flow. If I've like warmed up for a while and I'm talking and I'm completely engaged in one language, they'll start that wall will disappear a little bit. But for her, it happens instantaneously. The neuroplasticity factor is definitely at play here because she's 12 and I'm 56. But there's also, I think, something that she's gained from that perhaps I will never have as I started as an adult. Even though I was a teenager, I started much later. And if you look at the critical periods in language learning that have been well documented over and over again throughout the recent decades, they've talked about these years during which children should be learning a language when they most easily absorb that language and learn them. And I'm not going to try to quote them here, but I've heard them. I used to hear it like up to 6 years old, and then I heard like 3 to 4 years old, but somewhere between the ages of 2 and 6 years old are optimal, generally speaking. So that's why you want to do it, because it's not that it's a bad thing if your kids start learning French or Spanish or Italian when they're 8 or 9 years old, or 10 or 15 like I was. But I think there's another level to it that happens for them where they just are achieving their fluency at a deeper level, more ingrained, because both languages were there from the very beginning of the roots of their acquisition of language.